many times that I miss you. I know how to call when I want to.
To make this, I'll be using this African fabric. As you can see, I love the fabric. It's very nice and it has borders. Can you guys see? Yeah, so this is what I'm using. What I have here is 2.5 yards. So whether you're a plus size or a small size, you can use 2.5 yards to do this. You can also use chiffon fabric to make this. You can use crepe, any fabric you like. You can actually make it with this, but I love it in African print, so I'm going to be using African print to make this. So let's start with this tutorial. We'll be starting by making a basic block. I will advise you do this way. There are so many methods to this, but when you try this method, you will like it. So first of all, I'm going to be drafting a basic bodice block. If you know how to draft a basic bodice block already, you can skip this part and start from the next part. But first of all, let me do this for the beginners that are just watching this for the first time. This line, I'll use this line as my shoulder line. So I'm going to be taking the armhole length. The armhole length I'm using is 10 inches. Yours can be 9 inches. It depends. I'm working for a plus size, so I'm using 10 inches. So from here to here, I'm going to mark 10 inches for the armhole depth. Next, from here, remember this is the center front and the center back. From here, I'm going to get the shoulder width. The shoulder width I'm working with is 8.5. I'm going to mark it here. Remember I told you guys I'm making this for a plus size. Next, on this line, I'm going to get the bust divided by 4. The bust I'm working with is for 44 inches. Divided by 4 would be 11 inches. So I'm going to mark 11 inches here. Next, I'm going to get the neck width. Remember guys, what we're doing is a simple basic block. So you actually need this for a lot of things. So pay attention to this. The next thing we'll do is to get the neck width, which is 3 inches. And then I'll come down for the shoulder sloping. I'm using 1.5 inches. You can use 1 inch if that's what you're comfortable with. So I'm comfortable with this because this 1.5 marries with my armhole length. So I'm going to connect this line like this. Next, I will draw the width of the chest and the neckline I want to make. So I want this to come down to 6.5 inches. I'll mark 6.5 inches here. Next, I'm going to get the length of the band we have in front. Remember, there is a band in front. So I'm going to make that band to be 2.5 inches. So I'm coming down here, 2.5 inches for the band in front. And I'll connect this line. Next, I'm going to decide the width I want for the neckline. I want the neckline to be 5.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 5.5 inches here. And then I'm going to connect this line like this. So you just connect it like that. So now this is the area we're going to be using. So first of all, I'll have to take these lines up. So what I have here is 5.5. I'll take it up here, 5.5. So the width of my strap would be 1 inch or 0.5. So let me just mark it 0.75, 0.75. So assuming this is my strap, right? Yeah, so this is my strap. This is how to decide how many inches you want for the length of your strap. So you're going to take the measurement from here to here. It's no longer from here, guys. Can you see? Because if you said you removed 7 inches, you started 7 inches, so you want your strap to be 7 inches, you can see that where the neckline falls is no longer 7 inches. So we are going to be taking the measurement of the inner one, which is 5.75. So that is for the front. For the back, from here to where you want the back to be, which is somewhere here, is 9.75. So 9.25 plus 5.75 would be 15 inches. So the length of our strap will now be 15 inches. That's the length of the strap. This is how to decide the length of the strap you are using. So now we know the strap area. We are going to be cutting out this. So we are going to cut this from here like this, and all the way down. I want you guys to remember that the length of from here to here is 10 inches. From here to here is 10 inches. Remember. So let me write it, 10 inches, so that you remember that this is the length, so that when we are getting the length of the dress, you know what we have already here. So I'm going to take this like this. So now we have pattern for the band on top and we have pattern for the bodice block. So let me separate this. So this would be for the front, the band on the front, and this would be for the front and the back. For the C, this would be for the front and the back. So we're going to use this to cut out the bodies for the back and the front. Let's cut this out first before we cut this one out. 4. Here I have my fabric folded into 4, as you can see. So this is it, folded into 4. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you fold your fabric into 4. That's how you're going to be folding your fabric. So this is going to be for the front and the back. After folding it into 4, what I have here is 23.5 inches. So from the center front and the center back, I'm going to come in 6 inches like this, and I'm going to mark this. You can mark it all the way down, or you can just, stop somewhere here. So I'm just going to mark it here. So this will now be my center front and my center back. So from here, I'm going to place this here. So this is what we have. Remember, from here to here, we have 10 inches. So the final length for this is 40 inches. I'm going to add 1 inch for sewing allowance, which will make it 41 inches, and that's what I have here. So from here to here is 10 inches. So here is 10 inches. I'm going to place this here like this. Let me make sure this is 6 inches here. Yeah, 6 inches. So I'm going to make sure 41 inches. So remember, this place is 10 inches. I'm going to place the 10 inches here like this, and I'm going to mark this. So from here to here, we'll have to measure what from here to here is. Like this is 17. If I take 17 inches down, this will be 17 inches. If I want to take it straight, it's going to be straight like this, but I don't want to take it straight. I want it to have an A line. So I'm going to add 6 inches to that, and I'm going to make a flare like this. Can you guys see? So I want it to have a flare there. So from here, I'm going to come up ½ inch like this, and I'm going to connect this like this. So remember, I added ½ inch sewing allowance. Go ahead and add 1 inch or ½ inch sewing allowance by the side. Add inches for your sewing allowance here, and you come this way. So from here, I'm going to mark 9 inches down for my pocket, side pocket. So this will be where my side pockets will be. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. You cut this place from here. Remember, the front and the back are still on the same place. So I'm going to cut this out. I'll go ahead and set this aside. We'll cut the band. So remember, this is the center front. I'm going to go ahead and stitch it here because I'm deciding to make this a pleated dress. So I'm going to just sew it here like 1/2 inch. Then this is it after sewing it. As you can see, I have gone ahead and sewn this. So I'm going to open this like this, and I'm going to make a pleat here. Can you see? I'm going to make a pleat like this. So this is it after making the pleat. You go ahead and sew it, or you're going to pin it down. So I'll just go ahead and pin it down. And you go ahead and sew it here. After sewing it here, the next thing you will do is to bring the band. So this is the band. Can you see? Remember that we have folded the back. This is the back that is on fold. I'm going to go ahead and get the center of this. So you're going to place it like this, right side facing together. You match up the center and the where you have made the mark. So you're going to place it like this, and you're going to sew it here. So I'm just going to pin it down. So after sewing it, you're going to turn it over like this. Can you see? This will now be the center, the front side. Can you see how it is? Then you're going to pin it. You go ahead and pin it after sewing it. And then you're going to go and sew it and make a stitch in the ditch. By the time you're done sewing it, it will be very neat. So going over to the back, this is the back, remember? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hem this. You can either overlock it before you fold it like this and sew on it, or you can decide to fold in 1/2 inch, and then you're going to make 0.5 inches, because our elastic is 1/2 inch. So you're going to make it 0.7 inches, and you're going to sew it here like this. Remember, this is still the armhole. Can you see how small the armhole has turned now? So that's what you're going to do. So I'm going to do all of that, and I come back to you guys. So this is it after sewing it. Can you see? This is the front. Can you see how neat it is? And then this is the back. You can see the thread at the back. So that's how to make a stitch in the ditch. You just go ahead and stitch it inside. If you stitch it inside, it will not be on this, but it will now sew on that. So going over to the back, I've also sewn the back. So as you can see, I have sewn the back. I went ahead and overlocked this, if you can notice, and I top stitch on top of it. That way it will not unravel. So I'll go ahead and pass elastic here. So this is my elastic. I'm going to go ahead and use my safety pin and pass it through the elastic casing. Make sure you hold it here so that it doesn't pass. So I'm going to use my pin and hold it down there. So I'll go ahead and sew it here. I've gone ahead and added a side pocket to it, as you can see. Yeah, so I have a video on how to make a side pocket. I'll go ahead and drop that in the description section, so you know how to add a side pocket to your dress. The next thing I will do is to place the back side to the dress like this, and I will sew the side seam on both sides. This is it after joining the front and the back. Can you guys see? This is the back and this is the front. Can you see? Yeah, so you can see that the front is now looking longer than the back. So next thing I will do is I'm going to, here I have a strip I will be adding to the band for the strap, the spaghetti strap. I have here 2.25 in length. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start from here. You can decide to start from here at the back, but you will leave like 1/2 inch like this, and you're going to sew it all around. You're going to sew it all around. you're going to sew it with 1/2 inch. When you get, let me pin it so that I will show you what I mean. So I have left 1/2 inch here for the joining allowance. You go ahead and join this. So after joining it, this is how it will look. Remember that we said that the spaghetti strap, the length of the spaghetti strap is 15 inches. So we are going to measure 15 inches from here where we are going to here add it to the back. So from here, measure 15 inches from here to here, and you're going to cut out 1/2 inch for your sewing allowance. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch sewing allowance to this, and I'll cut it out. And then I'm going to, you make sure you arrange it properly, and you're going to add it to this one. So remember we left 1/2 inch there, so you're going to join it like that. So you go to your machine and you sew this down. After sewing it down, you're going to go ahead and fold it once like this and fold it again. I'll go to my machine now and I'm going to do all of that, and I show you the finished look.